Dive into a sea of flavor with AKUA's captivating seafood alternatives, making waves of deliciousness from ocean farm seagreens.
Next Pitch TV showcases the most innovative equity crowdfunding campaigns for the verdict of the crowd.
Introducing Courtney Boyd-Myers, the creative CEO of AKUA, who is transforming nutrient-rich seaweeds, or sea greens, into a delicious and sustainable alternative food source.
First of all, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Ralph.
Nice to meet you.
I'm the founder of NextPitch.tv, and basically the essence of Next Pitch is that I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I love equity crowdfunding as a concept. It's just a wonderful way of raising funding for startups between the friends and family and angel stages. So, and the name of the game here, this wasn't available to me for most of my companies. So I thought, wow, now that's a viable option. Let's go ahead and see what we can do to act as a kind of a promoter, in effect, for equity crowdfunding campaigns, but only the most innovative ones. And boy, AKUA certainly fits that bill. I am deeply impressed. So let me get started by asking, first of all, how did you actually come up with the idea in the first place, as obvious as it may sound?
Yeah, so I was sitting on a boat in 2016 on a kelp farm that my very good friend had invited me out to, and was learning all about the regenerative, climate-friendly benefits of growing kelp. I already knew all of the health benefits of eating kelp, and thought this was a wonderful way to create a brand that would service both environmental goals and human health goals, which are two things I'm really passionate about.
Wow. Well, I mean, having done a little bit of research here on my end, I noticed, first of all, you've already done a Republic campaign that went to the max, which in itself is a big achievement. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Now, what is fascinating is I also read that I think you did a Kickstarter. I didn't look into it. I just read the thing. So clearly, when it comes to equity, to crowdfunding, you definitely seem to have drunk the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of community, and really feel like the word company is more about the company you keep than the, actual business fundamentals of the word company. For me, it's about the team. It's about our customers. That is what drives me, for better or worse. Those are my strengths. Over the years, I've had to learn all sorts of parts of running a business that weren't naturally, part of my skill set, like operations and finance. But I am really, really skilled at getting people around a table, virtual or otherwise, to care deeply about the causes that matter the most to me, whether that's climate change or human health, as I mentioned. I think that I don't love the idea that one person sitting at the top, if something's successful, gets all the wins. I love the idea that, your customers are the most important part of your business, and they should succeed as well when you have a win as a business owner. So crowdfunding with Kickstarter was a way to get it going. I didn't actually know about equity crowdfunding at the time, or I might have started with that. But when I learned more about it, that, our fans and our customers could be co-owners in the business, it was really inspiring to me.
Wow. I certainly in total agreement with you. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm passionate about equity crowdfunding is not only because from the startup point of view, you have reasonable terms, but more importantly is, yes, you get funding, and by God, you get potentially thousands of, shall we say, evangelists and or customers in the process. I mean, it doesn't get any better, at least from my perspective. So
yeah.
Now, but I noticed that you also, if I understand it correctly, did, shall we say, traditional fundraising. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. So off the back of our equity crowdfund in 2021, it was a really exciting time for us as a business. And we had a number of private investors reach out. And so we did our seed round then.
Wow. And so this was actually before your crowdfunding experience, if I understand it correctly.
No, well, we've raised, we did a couple convertible notes as we were getting started. I'd call them friends and family round, but it was more like friends and founders. And my dad actually just invested in our most recent equity crowdfund campaign. That was his first go at it, but he has been working for us for free as our head of mailroom for a long time. Anyway, so we did a private seed round in 2021 following that first equity crowdfund, and that was a $3.2 million round.
Interesting. Now, did the fact that you already had established terms with your equity crowdfunding make a difference or make it easier in terms of the valuation setting when you came to that traditional round?
Yeah, so we raised the $1 million on equity crowdfunding at a $7 million cap on a crowd safe note, and we raised our equity price seed round at a $10 million valuation a few months later.
Interesting. Well, congratulations. All I can say is you really fit all the boxes here, and it's just a real pleasure to have a chance to talk with you. Let me ask you a little bit a different thing. The idea of using kelp, kelp is the same as seaweed? Is that the same thing or not?
I love saying that all kelp are seaweeds, but not all seaweeds are kelp.
Oh, okay. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to live in Japan, so I had quite a few chances to eat
Amazing.
seaweed.
Yeah, it's like 15% of the daily diet in Japan is seaweed.
Right. No, it's yeah, they definitely discovered that. I mean, I remember as a young kid first seeing it in the sky. What are they doing? Pulling that out of the ocean? And what? Then they eat it? No kidding.
Yeah.
And well, since then, I've learned a little bit. And I've also learned to appreciate it, I might say. So this is incredible stuff. Now, how is seaweed actually farmed? It sounds maybe like a stupid question, but when one sees it, as I did at that time, oh, they just pick it out of the ocean. It just naturally grows. Yeah, okay, I kind of get that. But I don't think that's the case for you guys. Is that correct? Or
no, so the way you're seeing it is called wild harvesting, which at the scale we're using kelp would be highly destructive to the ecosystem. We look at kelp farming, regenerative kelp farming, is one of the most positive ways to grow food in the world for two reasons. One is it's a zero input. So essentially the way it works is a ocean farmer, which are traditionally like fishermen, people that are used to working on boats with buoys and, whether they're growing oysters or they're lobstering, they go out and they would find basically a pregnant mama kelp. So she would have lots of spores inside of her. They would extract those spores and essentially plant them on ropes that are then lowered into the ocean. No fertilizers, feed, or anything are used. That kelp grows naturally with the essentially the nutrients that are in that ocean. So it's really important. If you're going to grow kelp for food, you're using very nutrient dense water. We are then looking at like a 6 to 7 month growing period. And in that 6 to 7 months, the kelp can grow up to 9 feet, which is just crazy. Think about your plants. It's very fast growing. It's called the sequoia of the sea. And
like the mushroom of the sea. But
yes. Anyway. lots of similarities with mushrooms for sure. And essentially then that kelp is taken out, cut off the rope. And in that whole process, you don't use fresh water and you don't use dry land, which makes it a really interesting food in the context of climate change, because those are our two most taxed resources. It's what's called a zero input food. Also, while the kelp is growing, if you think back to science class, the kelp is a macroalgae, so it grows via photosynthesis. So it's sucking in CO2 and nitrogen as it exhales oxygen and grows its body mass. So it has these really powerful deacidification effects on the ocean, which really help lower sea temperatures, which is really important. Yeah. So farming is incredible, and we source 100% of our kelp from farmers. We don't touch wild forests. Yeah, and most of the kelp is from Casco Bay in Maine, and we source a little bit from Cape Cod, which is where the company is based, and a little bit from Rhode Island, Massachusetts, too.
So not just kelp, but in effect, American kelp in this case. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. 98% of the seaweed on the market today is actually sourced from Asia. So it's as more grocery stores look to bring in more seaweed products, because more and more consumers, like mushrooms, like you mentioned, consumers are asking for seaweed. They want to eat it more. And yeah, not many companies are using US sourced seaweed. So really, really important to, back our local supply chains and help build our own blue-green economy here in the US.
Oh, I totally love it. So now tell me a little bit about your plans for the future beyond the obvious of wanting to grow.
Yeah, thank you. So, I think being first movers in the space, it's really important for us to think about, differentiation and staying ahead. And for us, there, are two things I think about: product innovation, and two is, how we're marketing and building the brand. On the product innovation side, so we started with kelp burgers. We launched 4 new products into market this year, 2 new flavors of the kelp burger, and our awesome SpongeBob collaboration that we are raising money for right now on the Republic campaign. SpongeBob's so cool because it's this really big global brand. He lives under the sea in Bikini Bottom, and he actually flips burgers. And they are called the Krabby Patty, and they're made of kelp. So it's really cool to kind of bring that element of the cartoon into the real life, and not just get kids excited who watch the show, but also like those Gen Zers that grew up watching the show and now have that purchasing power. Mm-hmm. And the Gen Z generation is so awesome because it's like, more than any generation that's ever come before it, is skewing more vegan and plant-based. And most of that is for environmental reasons. So with SpongeBob, we're able to really capture a couple demographics. We work with a couple of celebrities and influencers too, to help, build the brand and the mission. And then on the product innovation side, it's about staying ahead. So coming up, we've also got ground meat that's coming into retail, which is just super versatile. You can make tacos, your own burgers with it. Bolognese. We've got a really famous chef, Tom Colicchio, that has a bolognese in his restaurant with it, and it's super good. That's my favorite way to eat it, actually. But I do a lazy version. I just throw the ground meat into a pan with like tomatoes and cheese and throw it over pasta with fresh basil. It's so good. And I think as we look forward, we've done R&D on sausages, like link sausages and breakfast sausages. So we've got like almost an absurd amount of products in market for how small the business is. So product innovation is super core to what we do.
It's just fascinating in the sense that you point out on the campaign that indeed, of course, call it lab grown meat. I don't know what the official title is one option. And that has started to become more popular. And your direction is a totally different direction that, from what I can tell, i.e., yes, the end result, call it meat, even if it isn't meat in the traditional sense, but made from kelp rather than in the lab, as it were, grown, and God knows how they do the other stuff. I really don't know. So it's a fascinating way to see the direction, both of them intending to, ironically enough, be healthier and more sustainable. But it looks to me like your direction is, quite frankly, superior.
Yeah, I mean, from a sustainability standpoint, like the fact that we use kelp is a really powerful story, and it really substantiates us as a climate-friendly company. And then two, I think from just trends in the plant-based food world, what we're seeing is almost this backlash against plant-based foods because consumers feel tricked. They were, told to eat plant-based burgers from Beyond and Impossible, and they kind of just thought, oh, because it's got plants, it's healthy. And these products are like awesome in terms of what they've done to convince more people to switch from meat, but they're very processed. So they're not exactly like healthy and nutritious. And I think that it's going to take a little bit of time for consumers to trust the plant-based food industry again. And so I think a product like AKUA, when they turn the label and they see the clean ingredients, it's really exciting and refreshing. And I think there's a lot more companies like AKUA now entering that space and really banging that drum that, we don't need to do fake meat for consumers to get excited about being vegan or vegetarian. I think people want to eat healthy food that makes them feel good. And that's like the root of it. And how do we sort of work more on that education on like eat what makes you feel good versus like, don't eat a cow because of climate reasons or animal morality, which are sort of like tertiary, like of importance to the consumer. Like consumers at the end of the day care, is this delicious and is it good for me? So as a climate focused company, we actually don't even focus so much on climate in our messaging to consumers. We focus on the taste, the deliciousness, and the health benefits first. And of course, hopefully fulfill our mission in the same time. Now,
the name AKUA presumably derived from AKUA, but you obviously changed the Q for K so you could get the .com is my guess. I don't know. Is this right?
We don't have the .com, we have the .co, but yes, You're right. I mean, AKUA, there's a lot of different reasons we chose this as a company name, but one was, yes, aqua for water, supply the K for kelp, and you've got AKUA. So we loved that.
I hadn't even thought about the K for kelp. Duh, makes a lot of sense though.
Yeah.
Thank you so much indeed. Have a wonderful day, no?
Bye, Ralph. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Embarking on a journey of investment discovery is effortless with nextpitch.tv. As you enter the platform, a plethora of opportunities unfolds. Choose between featured campaigns or browse weekly showcases on the homepage, each just a click away. Immerse yourself in a campaign's essence through a captivating video. Then swiftly access campaign summaries by clicking View Campaign, facilitating informed decision-making. Personalizing your experience is seamless. mark campaigns as favorites with a star, and contribute to the community by rating them under My Rating. When you're ready to take action, the campaign button becomes your portal to the campaign platform, where comprehensive project details empower your investment or reservation choices, providing a user-friendly interface for seamless navigation. With NextPitch.tv, your journey into investment potential is guided by convenience and enriched by informed participation. To know more about the featured campaign, subscribe now to NextPitch.tv.